Alright, so today we're going to review the rules for rounding and using scientific notation. So hopefully this is just a review for you, but bear with me and we'll brush up. So scientific notation is a method for representing either very large or very small numbers in a more manageable fashion. So the general form we have for scientific notation is m times 10 to the nth power. So m has to be some number between 1 and 9.99 repeating. So we could say between 1 and 10, but we really only want one number to the left of the decimal. So another way to write that is m must have one and only one number to the left of the decimal. And then n needs to be an integer. So that could be either a positive or a negative number. So let's look at the two examples in your notes. So we have 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So that is 2.5 billion. So if we want to write 2.5 billion in scientific notation, first of all we need to decide what our m is going to be. So we need to have one number to the left of the decimal. So I can do 2.5. I can leave the zeros off, and then I count how many times I had to move the decimal place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 10 to the 9th power. And this is the way you probably learned to do it in about the 5th grade. So we really won't use this method a lot, but I just want to make sure you were aware of this. And then the other one on your paper you have 0.0000579. So I would have 5.79 times 10. Let's see, I moved the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, times 10 to the negative 5. So you know that a positive exponent is a very large number, a negative exponent is a very small number. So if we look at our calculator though, and if I haven't mentioned it already, this is the calculator that I'll use for all the problems this year. If you have the fancier calculator that you use for Algebra 2 with Trig or Pre-Cal, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure you know how to use that for all the processes that I do on here. But if you have this calculator, which I think is the best because it's $6 and it works fairly well, let's just type in this number, 2500000000. So now I hit the second button, I do the DRG button, I go over to SCI, and I mash enter. Then I have that number, I mash enter, it puts in scientific notation for me, 2.5 times 10 to the 9th. So once I'm in scientific notation mode, any number I type in is going to be in scientific notation. So I can do 0.1234579, hit enter, puts in scientific notation. So in my opinion, this is the easiest way to do it. Let your calculator do the hard work for you, and then the question will come up and you'll ask me throughout the year because you'll forget. That's perfectly fine. To go back, you'll do second DRG, go back over to FLO and mash enter, and you're out of scientific notation mode. Okay, so now let's look at doing some operations in the calculator with numbers in scientific notation. There's several different ways to do these. The way I prefer to do it, I'll show you, and I use parentheses a lot. If you do it the way I do it, you'll need to use parentheses. If you have another method that you like better and you get the right answer consistently, that's perfectly fine. So let's just make up a problem. Let's do 2.5 times 10 to the 4th times 7.8 times 10 to the 5th. Okay? So hopefully you learned in earlier math that you can multiply the numbers out in front and add the exponents and convert back to scientific notation. I use the mindset, let's work smart, not hard. So let's just type in the calculator. The calculator did the work for us. So I'm going to open a parenthesis. I'm going to do 2.5 times 10 to the 4th power close the parenthesis, times 7.8 times 10 raised to the 5th power. Hit enter. And because my calculator is already in scientific notation mode, it puts it there in the correct form for me. If you had gotten 19.5 times 10 to the 9th power, is that numerically equivalent? Yes. But is it correct? No. You need to have your answer in proper scientific notation. So let's look at one more. Let's say I have 3.0 times 10 to the 8th divided by, let's just say 2.5 times 10 to the negative 9. Again, hopefully you've already learned here you would divide the numbers in front and subtract the exponents, but let's go ahead and do it in the calculator. Let the calculator do the hard work for us. So 3.0, which is just 3, times 10 raised to the 8th power divided by 2.5 times 10 raised to the negative 9th power. Hit enter, and the calculator does the work for us. 1.2 times 10 to the 17th power, which would be 12 with 16 zeros following after it. So hopefully you can do that. If you have issues using your calculator, let me know now before we actually start doing real chemistry calculations. It's a lot easier to figure out your calculator now than it is once we get into the more difficult material of the course. So the next thing we want to look at is probably the easiest thing we'll ever do this whole year, but people always tend to forget how to do it and mess it up somehow, and it's rounding. So we all know that, let's just write one down. Let's say I have 123, 125, 127. So we all know that if I want to round to the tens place here, would be the 2, I look at the digit before. If the digit before is less than 5, we drop it off. So rounding this number to the tens place, I have 120. If the number previous is 5, I round up. So rounding this number to the tens place is 130, and if it's greater than 5, I round up. So that is 130. So let's look at this number, 0.1257. Let's round this number to the nearest, let's say, thousandths place. So we have the tenths place, the hundredths place, the thousandths place. So I look at the number before the place I want to round to, and I see it's a 7. And a 7 causes us to round up. So rounding this number to the nearest thousandths place is 0.126. So now let's look at one more example here. Let's say I have 1998.72. So let's say I want to round this to the nearest tens place. So this will be the tenths, the hundredths. This will be the tenths, T-E-N-T-H-S. This will be the ones. This will be the tens place. So I want to round to that place right there. So I look at the number prior, it's an 8. 8 causes us to round up. So we have an issue there. We have a 9. 9 turns into 10. So we round up again. 9 turns into 10 again. So what we end up with is 2,000. Okay? So we'll round a little bit differently in the next video. We'll look at using significant digits, but just the basics of rounding here, that would round to 2,000. That does not round to 20. Okay? Use a little common sense here. If you had, $1,998, you want to round that to $2,000, not to $20. So hopefully that's a pretty easy concept too. You won't have any trouble, but I just wanted to brush up on this now.